Okay, so today's episode of the Business Spotlight, I have great pleasure in welcoming a business expert to the spotlight that describes himself as an award-winning business leader that helps business owners to thrive, not just survive. So Sean Taylor of the Forces Group Limited, very welcome to Business Spotlight.
Thanks, Ellis. I did like the intro there. I sometimes you forget about what you write sometimes on your bio, but yeah, I just my bio, everything we try and do here is just trying to be that little bit different, trying to get away from the boring corporate titles, etc. So no, delighted to be here.
Thank you so much, and I love your response as well, because they were your words of your, you know what I mean. So that's really cool. It's great to work with you today. Tell us a little bit about the Forces Group then, and if you don't mind, what makes you different, because that's obviously the bit that we really want to get across in this podcast. So over to you.
Yeah, well, the Forces Group is my business. It's something that was founded 10 odd years ago, and we are in the franchise sector. We have two brands that essentially deliver property services to domestic and commercial customers. We have a pest control brand and we have a locksmith brand. But I say the difference between us and other businesses, we are a franchise. So we have this empowerment of having franchisees as opposed to employees, which has its pluses and its minuses. But we really focus on that customer service. And I think when you have the power of a franchise network with a vision and some values, empowering them to get on with it, we can deliver outstanding services. And we focus fundamentally on delivering fantastic customer service. So if you like, what makes us different is always an awkward question, isn't it? As a business leader, what really makes you different? We provide the same service as everybody else, but it's not what you do, it's the way you do it. And we are powered by our customer reviews. So we can confidently say we're the most reviewed pest control business in the UK. We can confidently say we're the most reviewed locksmith business in the UK. And this is kind of we're almost evangelical about it. This is how we're going to power our business. It's all going to be based on customer feedback. And that's the way we've run the business now. Probably for the last 5 years, we've kind of had an absolute focus on that, because that is the one thing that we don't just say it makes us different. We can prove it makes us different. So that's in short how we are. We have another brand as well that isn't franchise, but it's all in property services, delivering it to commercial and domestic customers.
Yeah, it's fascinating to look at your websites and to understand where the commonalities lie. The core competencies or the markets are clear, but of course they're also differentiating into different aspects, aren't they, of those spaces, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, the services are very different, but the customers we serve are very, very similar. I mean, it's basically any person with a property. Yeah. We can go down our niches, and we do niche into some areas from a marketing perspective, but we cover a wide spectrum. But we have very similar. A lot of our customers on one brand engage the other brand, because they have the same issues. If you have a property, you have doors, you have locks, you have pests, you have cleaning issues, and we're starting. It's been a really interesting evolution, because the brands we bought the brands years ago. So it's not something I founded. My corporate background in finance and accounting took me into ownership eventually, and we bought this business, and we founded the Forces Group as an umbrella organization. So you won't find much about the Forces Group, but the individual brands you will. So we've always traded very individually. But now we're trying to put this umbrella around it so that customers can see us almost like as a one-stop shop. So it's an evolution that we're going through at the moment. We're still very wedded and very focused on our identities of the different brands, but we are bringing this umbrella organization together, and even behind the scenes, getting rid of lots of individual trading companies. We're trying to sort of streamline everything down so we're just more efficient and can deliver ultimately to the end customer.
I don't know if it's keep your mind open on this one. I don't want to offend you, this statement, but there's almost like a flavour of Branson and the Virgin thing going on here. This sort of group identity that's common, irrespective of market, of business, of channel, but at the same time, differentiation based on customer experience. Is that am I literally shooting in the dark there, or is that part of the theory?
It's not, I mean, it's not, you know, when you say, I mean, we know, a lot of people know who Branson is. I wouldn't say that we've got this mission like Branson. It's just been an evolution, if you like. And I think it's quite a natural evolution, as I've been in business a long time. And you know, you just, it kind of builds, you know, we didn't start the journey thinking this is where we're going to go, but it just seems to make sense. And some of it's driven by the customers, you know, and then you look at efficiencies and trying to make sure that we're being as profitable as possible. So I think it's just been a natural evolution. It hasn't been we're going to be like Branson and Virgin. It's just been an evolution that has naturally evolved.
Have you read Branson's book Finding My Virginity?
I haven't.
So it takes him from 1999 to 2019. It's a 20-year window, because his original book brings him up to 99. So this is the second book in his particular story. And it's I think it's 17 and a half hours of listening, but it's that good. My wife and business partner is about 2/3 of the way through it right now, and she can't put it down. It's very interesting, and I say this again with absolute respect. You're clearly not what's the word, modeling Branson, but for sure, Sean, you will hear and see in that book a huge overlap of what you're actually doing versus what they're doing. Okay, so for me, that will be an interesting thing for you to think about. Just a couple things to pick up on there. I mean, you know, you mentioned marketing. Okay, which is an interesting subject and a massively relevant subject in its own right. And you also described growth and development of the business. So can you give us a feel for where the business was when you acquired it, and as to what your trajectory has been like, and is that a marketing driven thing, or is it something else? Please share, Sean. It'd be interesting to know.
So okay, it's quite a checkered. I'll try and keep the story relatively short. I mean, I fell into franchising through my corporate life, and then ended up buying a franchise, running it, growing it from 3 to 9 million with a business partner over a few years. Sold it. In the meantime, bought another franchise, being what is now the Forces Group, thinking, well, we've done it once, we'll do it again. And we the first investment was I would call it a disenfranchised franchise. So it was quite an easy thing to pick up, re-energize, give it some focus and grow it. And having done it once, we thought, let's add some more services to it. Great idea in theory, probably didn't do our due diligence properly, bought a business that wasn't anywhere like or anything like what we'd experienced before. So we went through a whole load of upheaval. And at the same time as buying that, the business that we were already in was accelerating even more. So we did a typical thing of kind of overstretching ourselves. Anyway, roll on a couple of years. The cleaning business we had was growing, maturing, and we managed to sell that but maintain the Forces Group. And that was in kind of 2017. So while we owned the Forces Group for, I think we must have had it now nearly 9 years, it's really only had focus for about the last 5 years.
Okay.
So it's just a learning process. So we went through this thing, and we kind of rebuilt what we bought from the bottom up. We came into a network, went round, we did a real good checkered, we did literally a trip all around the UK. We had 80 odd franchisees to go and meet and greet. And we went around and saw them all, and they said, oh, we need to do this, and we need to grow this, and we need to do this. And we said, great, okay, well, let's take this all away. And we kind of did this are we on the bus together sort of piece, if you like. And we said, look, we've been out to sea, we're going to do this and this and this. Are we all going in the right direction? And they went, yeah. And then we said, there's going to come this is going to come at a cost. And at that point, they all kind of suddenly started backpedaling a little bit. And we went through a horrible period, and not horrible from both sides, both from the franchisees that had been trading in this business and then us taking over. But we went through a whole transition for about 5 years. And in that time, we probably rebuilt the whole network. We said to people, look, you're either on the bus using our name, or you're off the bus. And we didn't stop anyone trading. It was like, if you don't see the value in what we're going to do, then trade on your own, use your own branding, but don't associate yourself with us. So again, I'm opening up I don't want to open up a can of worms, but we went through that whole transition. And now we've just got the model almost where we want it. I don't think a model is ever complete. You're always moving it on. And we've got this very clear thing. What is our vision and our values? What do we offer? How do we offer it to our customers, and how do we show value? And we've just been on this growth trajectory. I mean, I'd almost, rather than going back the whole history, let's go to 2000, the COVID pandemic and the world shutting down. We've kind of not looked back since that moment, from maybe a week or two of no one really knowing what did the lockdown mean, and everyone was sort of getting back into their house and not leaving it. We've never looked back since that moment. Franchisee growth has gone through the roof, sales have gone through the roof, and I don't think it's necessarily the timing of COVID. I just think it's the amalgamation of all the systems and processes that we put in place and the efforts we put in to drive the business. And I think we're 20 or 30% up on last year, which is maybe $1.5 million growth, 10,000 extra orders compared to this time last year. And it's just a culmination of all the little things that we've been doing to make sure our business is best placed for when someone needs our service.
So there's a question coming up which reads like this: what are the two most important facets of starting, building, running a successful business? And let's not answer that question per se, because you've kind of already done it. But what I was hearing there was systems and processes multiplied by what we've done to drive the business, acquire more franchisees and clients, expansion. That for me sounds like code for marketing. So it seems to be that you place massive emphasis on the systemization and then the communication of what you can offer to the target market.
Yeah, and not forgetting there are two markets that we fish in, isn't it? We have a market to try and identify franchisees, so people we think, or people that want to start running their own business. So there's a clear marketing channel, and there's obviously our end customers, which is where we have to support the growth of a franchisee coming in. We don't do it all for them. We don't sell this franchise saying join us and we will throw leads at your feet. We want you to come and want to own your own business. We'll teach you to show you how to do that. We'll show you the processes and the procedures and the systems that we've got. You've got to bring your personality in. We can show you the how, but it's the who that's got to do it. So there are two different things. So we're very clear about the type of market and the type of avatar that we want for a franchisee, and that's really hard to find. To find people that want to start their own businesses. There's lots of people that want to start their own business. Whether they have the capability, the financial backing to do it is a different thing. But we're all about finding the right people and understanding their why. So when we're recruiting and marketing from a franchise perspective, we want to know why. Why do you want to join us? Why us? Why now? What is the motivation? Because we know the journey they're going to embark on. It's not going to be a field of roses and lovely, smelly. It's all going to be real business, but we'll help you on that journey. So our recruitment for marketing is very real, very no BS, no glossy, salesy. Here's the beach, here's the car. It's, if you really want to roll your sleeves up and get involved, come and join our journey and be part of our journey.
The gritty reality of business ownership.
Yeah, absolutely. I will never say, I sell the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's what I say. There's no point you joining our network not knowing the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Which one are you then, out of the three?
Well, I could certainly be the ugly one. But, so we're very clear on our marketing perspective for franchise recruitment. Then come over to the other side, which I feel is equally as important, is to make sure we have the right structure to make sure a franchisee can come in and market themselves to their market, and we can go down and segregating our list into different channels, but let's just take it to, if someone wants a service in a location, a very simple sort of focus, then we want to make sure we're the best at doing that and showing our franchisees what we have in place to help them do that and what they would need to do to help fuel that. It's definitely a two-way thing.
I'm with you, Sean. What is the what kind of business planning are you guys doing with your? Well, in fact, split it into two. Let's say the Forces Group and the franchisees. What kind of planning do you ask them or work with them around?
Okay, so let's start with the Forces Group, which is kind of but the team, I have a team here. We work on a 5-year plan.
Okay.
And it's a rolling plan. It's kind of constantly being updated. I'm bear in mind I'm an accountant by trade. I do hate annual budgets and all the rest of it. It's got to be more real than that. It's not a target to hit. It's a moving feast.
Absolutely.
So we work on a 5-year plan, and it's constantly being updated. And that's the expression cobbler's shoes. Financial people don't actually enjoy numbers all the time, but having that plan is so important, and taking that time to make sure it's properly structured is so important. So we've gone through that process, but I did it really, really in a really detailed way recently, because I'm kind of just coming up to sort of 55. So my end is near, and not in a bad way, but you know what I mean. No, but you know what? It's so interesting about when you're in your 30s or something, you don't think about the end, do you? Because it's so far away. But when you think if you're into your 50s, how much longer do I want to work? What is my plan? What is my exit? And I don't mean exit as in removal from the business, but so I went through all my financials anyway. That 5-year plan gets me to where I want to be.
Sure. Can I stop you for a second? Just hold your train of thought for a second. Why would you not want to have clarity about your exit from your business?
Well, okay. Well, of course, everyone should have clarity on exit for their business, but I've been through a journey. So I came from a background. I was a number 2 in relative PLCs, smaller businesses. I was always the number 2. When I took on my own business, I'd been I'd been around entrepreneurs who were consolidating, buying and selling. They'd made their worth through selling, basically growing a business and selling it in multiple ways, multiple times. And my mindset was, if I have my own business, I'll grow it and one day I'll sell it. And that was very much my mindset. And then someone that I worked with said, why do you want to do that? I said, good question. It was kind of a mindset that was just being implanted. And I said, well, yeah, surely if you grow a business and it's making money and you've got the team around you, why don't you just keep going?
Warren Buffett style. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because how many people do you know grow a business, sell it, and then wish they'd never done it? I wish they'd never done that. They sit there twiddling. I mean, you must come across this like so many times.
I think the answer to that question is the majority of people that build a business and sell it. Absolutely, that's what they find themselves thinking.
Yeah.
What am I going to do now?
Yeah, and yeah. So my mindset changed about a couple of years ago. So I've now been on this path to say, right, what do I need to do to achieve what I need to achieve and to be able to make choices in my business life, and I'm beginning to see the fruits of the labor now. So that's what the 5-year plan does. It takes me forward, and it's not saying in 5 years I'm out. It's just saying I know my numbers are kind of covered, my lifestyle is covered, and I'm in a good place. And I've never had that reality check before.
Can I add something to your thoughts there? This is something that we teach our clients session by session, okay? What's the definition of business success? Okay, so the answer to the question is this. You've reached the point of freedom of choice. You're now able to choose when you work, how you work, whether I sell it, whether I keep it, whether I let the team run it, whatever, doesn't matter, because you've got the freedom of choice. Now, if you then layer that up, Sean, with the definition of wealth, which is the multiplication of freedom of choice of time by money. So in other words, I'm now wealthy in time and I'm financially able to choose what I spend my money on and do, et cetera, et cetera. So Now, what we're describing there is level 3 business ownership. So we're coming to that in a second. So let's nail it now. If level 3 business ownership is described by owning a business that is able to function without you, theoretically, that means you then have the ability to have the freedom of choice in your life, wealth of time and money, play. So how far are you away from this? Is that something that you can? Please don't disclose. I'm not asking you to disclose numbers or specific plans, but are you actively now targeting that? Is that something that you've earned the right to plan for in the foreseeable?
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. And it's always been a reality of mine, but mine was a very not narrow, very shallow thought. Oh, grow a business, sell it, I'm out. And that's really, that's such an easy thing to say, but so shallow. Now it's, as you say, time. What is the time is limited, and I say it's just as you get older. We feel about older and wiser. You suddenly realise, and as we talked before this interview, you only have a certain number of days. And I was at a conference recently that said, assume you're going to live to 80. Take off your average age, times it by the number of days. And that's your clicking top. You're clicking clock.
It's easy for you to say.
So no, look, but I'm not saying we're there, because we're not.
No,
but we are definitely on that path. I put a lot of time and effort into creating the team and having the team and layering the team to provide that support. I say we're not there yet, but we're getting there. I mean, just as an example, 2 years ago, I took on a PA. My thought process over all the years is whoever has PAs, that's just lazy. But that wasn't really valuing my time, was it? So having a PA or an executive assistant is one of the best things I've ever done.
I would suggest that it's not paying respect to the value of your time, but it's also not leveraging, Sean. It's not actually leveraging people, is it? So you were doing that now. Yeah, let me just go back to the original question and ask you just to summarize this for us. How are you translating what you're doing with your business to your franchisees? What's the vision there? Do you want them to build businesses that work without them so they can have freedom of choice and exit options? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Excuse me. And so to say I definitely try and leverage what I learn and push into the network. This is not about Sean's got all the knowledge, let's not tell anyone what it's about, because it's been enlightening for me. So it's just a question of how we do it. So our franchise has always been very much a man in a van operation. That's what it was founded on originally, which is exchanging time for money.
Absolutely.
It's an exchange of time for money. So if a franchisee goes on holiday, he doesn't earn. If he comes to our conference, he doesn't earn money. So there's a constant battle there. But that, again, coming back to your question about what does success look like, for some people, that's success. I own my own time. Yes, I only earn. It's a time exchange of time for money, but it's my time, and I can decide when to use it, when not to utilize it, etc. And don't get me wrong, some of my franchisees absolutely love that. No employees, love my customers. That's my life. That is success. So and I've kind of come to terms with that. For certain people, that is what success looks like. I work 5 days a week. I earn the money I want. I have the life I lead. But now what we're seeing is as we've evolved as a franchise, is we're now seeing franchisees see the way they can leverage their business. So we now have people with multiple vans. So now we're going through an evolution of trying to show people stop working on your business. Sorry, stop working in your business. Start working on your business. So we're going through that thing, and I know that's a very management thing to say, but we're generally seeing that now as well.
Valid. Totally valid.
So we've got a real, we've got both. We've got solopreneurs here, and what I call entrepreneurs who really want to leverage their business, leverage their time, and it's a really interesting evolution. And we have to be able to cater and understand and acknowledge we have the spectrum, from the spectrum to this. And it's not to say either side is wrong or right. It's right.
I agree. I mean, it's interesting to hear you say that equal success or equal pathways. Both pathways equal success. It depends on the why of the franchisee, doesn't it? So, but here's the challenge to you: is how do you plan to become a business coaching entity in your own right? Because it could be that your franchisee simply has not been challenged enough, maybe on their why. You know, there could be other things tied in. That's a very really interesting, I guess, opportunity and challenge there for you, Sean.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, and I think sometimes, look, we try and open people's minds. We don't ram it down their throats.
No.
We try and talk about the opportunity, and it's just interesting. I mean, there was a real situation where one of our longest standing franchisees, so went back to way past where we were involved, so had come through that turmoil, and his son has just joined the business. So for years, the incumbent franchisee, good guy, nice guy, had his business, was happy with it, it was all going well, but his son's now involved. So, the earnings have to increase a little bit to support another person joining. And just a little, so they sat down and said, Sean, how can you help us grow? And I said, well, what do you want to do? What's the background plan? And they actually set out a 5-year plan. I didn't set them out. They just came to me and said, here's a PowerPoint with some 5-year plans on it. And it wasn't the best plan, but it was a plan. And it was just so interesting that we just spent a bit of time. We identified what they wanted to do. We kind of worked backwards. Well, what do you want? And then we kind of build it. Most people start from the top and come down and say, well, what's at the bottom is what I get, what I take home. But we try and work the other way up. And I'm not saying this because it was a success. It was just nice to see it. Within 3 months, they had doubled their business.
Yeah.
It just doubled their business over, virtually overnight. And it wasn't it was no rocket science.
No.
It was back to basics. Get your discipline, know what you need to do, focus on your inputs. Don't worry, the outputs will come. We'll worry about the outputs, but focus on just doing what you need to do every day. And my biggest frustration in business, and it's aimed at me as much as any other business leader, is stick to get your disciplines and keep working at them. Stop deviating and chasing the next bloody next. We're like magpies, aren't we? We're chasing the next shiny thing. So it's discipline, discipline, discipline. So
we call that. We have a little label there within our client base called focus behavior every day. Okay, so the acronym FBED, FBED, focus behavior every day. And the thinking there is that we have business planning models, have been developed, software systems to help a business owner look 5 years ahead, but also to have a dream board behind it so that there's the visualization piece. Then there's the business planning piece, the 5-year goal setting, then the 3-year, then the 1 year, which breaks down into 4 plans, the finance plan, the marketing plan, the people plan, and the actual business plan, which are constantly updated and reviewed against. Then it's 90-day planning, Sean, times 4. Then it's plan the month, plan the week, and this is the kicker, plan the 8 hours ahead. Okay, so a business in our philosophy here, and happy to share this with you, is create business planning from long term through to the 8 hours ahead. And you get that right, times 260 working days, give or take. Now you've got traction, right? So what's the difference between traction and action? The answer is TR. That's it. TR. Traction. Traction and minus TR, and you end up with action. So it boils down to taking the right action every day in order to get the traction you're looking for. That's what your franchisees are obviously working to. So here's the final question this afternoon. On this beautiful October day, what's going on, right? It's like, it's time to go and hit the beach, I think. What's the? Sorry, Ellis. Just can I just finish? Squeeze one thing in really quick. I know it's about. So you talked about business planning. I talked about what we did. Just very quickly, what we do with franchisees. So very much. It's kind of the thing whether we move forward with the franchise or not is what do you want out of this business, and we have to start with. And we have this what we call the survival budget. So if you were to move from where you are today into starting a business tomorrow, what do you need to earn?
You know, what do you need? Not what you want to earn, what do you need to earn? We know what our financial model looks like, and we know whether that need is kind of low risk, medium risk, or high risk. You know, someone with a family and needs to put kids into private school, and they want to start a business tomorrow and they need to cover all those costs. You're going into high risk territory straight away. If someone's living at home with no costs, so we do that and then we build it upwards from there. So we say, if you want to earn that, we know what your costs in your business are, fixed costs. We work out what your GP is. We know roughly what it's going to be. And we just keep working up and say, right, what would need to happen to make that? What would need to happen to, and we come all the way back to what you just said, action. As long as you do this activity in action, it produces, this is leads. This number of leads need to convert into this number of jobs. This number of jobs come to this price. And that's where, over all these years, I've just learned how simple business is, but not how easy it is.
Isn't that just the perfect phrase, Sean? We make it so difficult and complicated, and it doesn't need to be, does it? Wow. What advice would you have for the 18-year-old Sean that you bumped into this afternoon whilst walking down the street? What would you say to him, Sean?
Oh, geez. It's a really interesting question, and I'll try and answer it the best I can. First of all, what I've learned, and my biggest mistake, is business is just part of life. Life is not business. I have committed so many hours, like most entrepreneurs do, to being successful. And sometimes you forget that other parts of your life are as equally important. And if you ignore health, well-being, friendships, relationships, and all the other bits, if you don't recognize that they're all part of your life, your business won't ever be successful. And I've learned that through, 2 years ago, falling over in the office, kind of brain, whatever you want to call it. It was an episode that ended up me going through sort of mental health, psychotherapy, because it was all about the business. And the danger is when you enjoy business that it's not seen as a chore. So you've got to remember that business is just part of life. And it's something I talk about with new franchisees coming in. I want you to commit to the business, but remember it's part of life. So I think that's one thing that I would tell my 18-year-old self. I would also say no regrets, no what ifs. I've done that. I've actually realized that some of the decisions I made in my life were the right decisions, because I didn't want to look back and say, what if? I explored what I thought. And to bring that to life again, just as a real life example, before I bought into running my own business, I worked in a company. So that was 13 years ago. I was FD, shareholder. Now that business has gone from 40 million to 3 billion in 13 years.
Wow.
Now, just imagine what that would have done for me financially.
Absolutely.
And I'm still in touch with, they're kind of friends of mine. They're people I grew up with. And sometimes they rib me and say, Sean, I bet you wish you'd never left.
Oh, that's cruel.
And I say, look, maybe, but I've had this incredible journey on this side. Yes, it hasn't been as financial. These guys are just, money doesn't come into it anymore but I said, but I made the choice because I then started, I was away a week. I was a weekend dad. So I came back. I've enjoyed my family, my time with them, and built my own thing my way. Absolutely. So I come back to this thing about some people judge success as about financial wealth. And I don't look at it like that anymore. Maybe a younger version of myself, it would have been all about financial wealth, and it's not about that.
Time multiplied by money.
Yeah.
And you have the opportunity to still leverage your exit planning, don't you? So there's plenty to go.
It's still in my control. And if I earn 1 million or 10 million or 50 million, it's just numbers. It's just I think Stephen Bartlett put was it a 60-foot boat doesn't make me any more happy than a 50-foot boat kind of thing. And I think sometimes the one thing that annoys me is people judge success by wealth. And I know now just through years that it's nothing to do with that. It's your happiness, it's your health, it's everything, isn't it? And
combination of all the above, right? Yeah. So Sean, I think this afternoon we've covered a lot of ground, and I must say my wish coming into this discussion was to be more conversational with your good self than straightforward interview questions and answers. And we've achieved that because the story that you've been able to share and the occasional questions that I've been able to put into your mind have really stitched together, I think, what will become a fascinating podcast for people to watch and listen to. And let's hope that we can inspire some people to, what was it? Make it less complicated, make it more simple, and just go and deliver the life that you want from your business. Yeah.
I totally agree, and hats off to anyone. That's all. That's what gives us pleasure. As a franchisor, it gives us pleasure to see when someone says, "Best decision I've ever made. Wish I'd done it 10 years ago. Living the life I want to lead." But that shouldn't be misunderstood. Those guys have worked hard to achieve that.
Yeah.
There is sometimes this thing in business, isn't it? Oh, he's got it easy. He's got a great business.
Wow.
Sometimes you have to do the hard work. Well, not sometimes. You have to do the hard work, but success is there. If you can get through those obstacles, success is the other side.
100%. Sean, best of luck with the Forces Group Limited, and we wish you every success that you can possibly have. So thank you very much for your time again today.
Thanks, Ellis. Much appreciated. Thanks for your time.